Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
By the way, Janta, don't forget to check out Keeping It Queer with Naveen. Naveen's my producer and he has his own show called Keeping It Queer. It's all about the LGBT experience. I, of course, have trouble with anything which doesn't have a vowel in it, but I'll try and say it. Legitimate. The LGBT experience, inspirational and funny. Alright, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Hundreds of years ago, before they had porn on the internet, we had reading in the 80s. When reading was fun and there were no pictures, you had to imagine all the people naked. But today we have a man called Amrut Deshmukh who's going to take us back to reading with an app called Booklet. Amrut Deshmukh.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Alright, I was at a friend's function. By the way, this is Cyrus Says, and I wore short pants. It was an evening function, and people asked me why you're wearing short pants is disrespectful. I want to tell you one thing. If you invite someone to a party, why can't you mention what kind of clothes you want them to wear? Otherwise, why is it offensive? Please be detailed in your invitation. Say, I want you to wear long pants. I want formals. Otherwise, why should I be expected to wear formal pants? It's too hot. In December, I'm sweating. In January, I'm sweating. I refuse. I will wear shorts till I die. And I'm not affiliated to any political party, by the way. It's called Cyrus Says.
And that's what Cyrus Says.
All right, let's meet our guest today on Cyrus Says. His name is Amrut Deshmukh. And no relation, of course, of the famous Deshmukh family.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Jab will ka time aata hai, bhai, we can always do some setting later. But Amrut, you're very interesting. The whole idea of our show is you try to find people who are pathbreakers, pioneers, doing something different, sometimes what we call unsung heroes.
Okay.
And you are definitely that. Because your whole story is Booklet app which is getting people to read again. So your whole story is to make India read. So I'm going to throw it open to you immediately. What is Make India Read?
Okay, so I am a voracious reader since childhood. So I read one book a week and make a short...
What are you saying?
Yeah.
Is it like that horse racing book, that small one, the 10-12 pages?
No, any 200, 300 page of book I read every week, preferably non-fiction. At times fiction, and I summarize it in less than 10 pages so that you can read a fat book.
So last year's budget is fiction or non-fiction?
That's not a book.
Take your time. No, they publish it, by the way. Sorry, so what are you reading currently? I'm going to keep interrupting you. I have a problem like that. Sorry.
I know you very well.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to. People tell me, will you let the other guy talk? But again, it happens. It's like the guy who drives fast and everybody tells him to drive slow. Sorry.
Okay. I'm reading Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start with why.
Yeah.
As in question mark.
Yeah.
As in why.
Yes.
Okay. And so these are all these self-help kind of books?
Mostly self-help.
Can I be mean here for a second? I'm a little cynical about self-help books. I know the type of guy who gets into the self-help books, and that's very much what he likes to read all the time. How to make himself better, more popular, whatever, that Dale Carnegie and onwards. But do you think they work, these kind of books?
Recently, they are. I see them as old wine in new bottle. But there are authors like Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Work Week, are really something new stuff where he works only 4 hours a week. You know?
Wow, I love this guy. I want to adopt him.
Yeah, so read the book.
4 hours and successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me understand that. In 7 days, you only work 4 hours, but 4 quality hours. Is that it? Or in every day you work 4 hours?
Yeah, Tim Ferriss works only 4 hours in a week, and he explains in his book, how to make this possible. It is possible.
But you can explain this in 2 minutes to me, and I can save the time of reading the damn book.
I'll make a summary on Booklet and download the Booklet.
Which is why we're segueing into that immediately. So Amrut Deshmukh, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, has basically come up with this app where you sort of, I'll let him explain in his own words, but for my understanding, you sort of take a big book, let's say a classic like Great Expectations, which will take you years to read, especially the French edition. And what he does is he puts it in about a half an hour of reading time for you, in about maybe 20-30 pages. So you get an idea, a gist of the book, and then if you want, you can go and read the big book as well.
Absolutely. Correct.
Yeah? So where did that idea come from?
Okay, so a year ago, I had been to the movie with my friend. I had left my job. I was jobless. And we reached the showtime 15 minutes before. So I just narrated him the book I was reading that week, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Again, his self-help book.
And he was so impressed by my narration, he said that your reading habit can benefit me. And that whole idea excited me so much that I escaped from the movie in the interval, lying him that I want to pee, and I went home and researched on the
This
internet.
sounds like a date gone wrong, man. Don't like the girl. I'm going to pee. Never come back. Yeah.
So I went on internet, checked out who all are doing. Nobody is doing such book summaries. So I thought of sharing these book summaries on WhatsApp with few of my friends and ask them to share those book summaries with them.
Amrut, just hold on here for a second. This is the whole crux of this entire thing is people who have in their lifetime achieved success like you have. It's all that 1 minute of madness or 1 minute of great, your mind hits the high notes or something happens. Some sort of explosion happens in that mind and you come up with that one original idea which separates you from all of us. All right, not everybody does that, but a few do. So this idea, this summary of the book was your idea?
See, there is nothing original in this world. Okay, Pressy writing is since fourth
No,
standard.
that's fine. That's fine. But this idea of an app, come on, let's be honest here. No one had really thought of that.
Correct.
So you thought of this idea on your own.
Yeah.
You got this flash and you said, okay, this is something that will help people. Yeah. But you weren't thinking about from a monetary point of view or anything. You were thinking only from an actual idea of people reading.
I want to call it as a social enterprise and I want to be called as a social entrepreneur, not social worker.
Yeah.
So there is some revenue model in my mind down the line once I reach 1 million downloads.
Yeah, no, I think revenue and social work going together is the ultimate.
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
can benefit society and do work. That's why selling water is very important. I think you must sell water. Everybody should. But no, I again want to dwell on that for a second because everybody doesn't have this idea. But we've spoken to entrepreneurs who come on our show who are millionaires today or about to become. And it's just that one idea, that one good, really great idea at the right place, right time, which happens and benefits a market or many markets in some cases.
I beg to disagree, Cyrus.
Please.
It's not idea is just 10% of the whole project. It's about execution. 300 ideas come to my mind on toilet seat every day.
What are you saying?
But how
Do they
many of
involve
them-
3 girls from Jamaica?
How
'Cause
many
those
of
are my ideas.
So it's all about execution. Okay, there is a difference between wedding and marriage.
Right.
Wedding is one day event, whereas marriage is a lifetime commitment.
I
And
wish it was the other way around, brother, really. I had such a successful wedding, yeah. Yeah, good point. No, again, I don't want to argue with you on this. You're right, what you're saying is right, but I still believe that you hit that high note by getting this idea. So, reading is dying. I have 2 young children.
Absolutely.
And the way I read in my generation, we were forced to read. We read a lot.
True.
Okay, but now we grow up in this generation, they're on the internet, so reading will change because there's so much ways to get information processed in your mind. Now, what you come up with is you're coming to a halfway house, which I think is an excellent idea, where you'll take this generation and say, why not try a little bit of reading? Because you know you don't have so much time on your hands or you don't have the inclination to sit for hours like we used to. So I believe that this idea is, when I heard this idea when he told me in the morning before we recorded, I think this is a very good idea. It makes sense because people just don't have the patience.
Absolutely.
But yet they can get a crux of the idea of what it is and then they can take it further. So out of 20 people, if 2 people start reading again, I mean, you've done a lot.
True. I don't think the youth of India
I
is
can't
not
praise you
reading.
anymore now, Amrut. I praised you enough. Put the money on the table, let me go.
I think it's not true that the youth of India is not reading. They are reading, but they are reading the wrong stuff. Santa Banta jokes,
Yeah.
Alia Bhatt PJs.
Really?
Jokes on Pappu.
Yeah.
And all the negative news floating
But
on
those are
social
short
media.
reads, I'm saying.
Yeah. So my intention was to,
Even porn they're not reading. What is wrong with the kids of today?
Porn is to be read. Is it?
We used to read Baba. See where I come from. 80s, beta, 80s. We read Mayfair, Hustler, Penthouse, White House.
Okay. Yeah.
Will you put it on your
Next
booklet?
question.
Will it come on booklet?
No.
Chota version aega? With the pictures, please. Sorry, coming back to you. Yeah. So you're saying that they are reading.
Yeah. So they are reading a lot of stuff on WhatsApp. Repeat. How many times did you get the news of monetization? Yeah.
The
100
same
groups.
joke in the circles, the same
Exactly.
joke again and again, the same style. I can't bear it. I want to remove the internet. I want to quietly. This is the only thing I agree with ISIS. Remove the internet. Yeah.
So I just wanted to make some change and I started sharing the book summaries on WhatsApp and then ultimately landed up on my own app called Booklet.
Okay. And now, before we go forward, let's go back a little bit. What was your experience before this? What were you doing? What was Amrut doing in life? Except watching movies for half an hour and then leaving.
I am an outdated chartered accountant.
Oh, you're a hardcore, normal Indian male who was made to work properly, clear chartered accountancy exam, and then...
Yeah.
So this is not some chance you took.
Yeah, so then I got into stock market and then got bored of making money.
But you made money.
Yeah.
In a time when nobody else did.
Decent money, yeah. Before 2008, yeah.
Before the recession. Well done. He's got all his answers in case there's somebody investigating this question here. Stock market mein paisa banaya kab?
And then I got into a noble profession called teaching. I started teaching CA students. And
to clear? For the exam?
Yeah, help them clear. And then this idea struck to my mind last year.
But now going back into your life, so you were an avid reader all your life as a child as well. And although you're also internet generation and all that, it was not so much internet. You actually read books, physical books.
I think I think all types of the e-books and internet and EPUB and torrent if possible today, and hard copies. Whatever. I follow, beg, borrow, steal policy. Yes.
Okay, now take us through how you set this up then. You had this idea, you're watching a movie. Which movie was it, by the way?
Bahubali?
One of the most expensive movies. And that, you let that go?
Yeah.
200 rupee, 400 rupee ticket, what was it?
So, he had bought the ticket for me.
Oh, bhai, poor chap. He bought it for your company and you left, yeah. Okay, so how did you set it up then? What is your next step?
I read somewhere in a book called Acres of Diamonds by Russell Conwell that it's not important what you have, it's what you do with what you have. So I'm a non-tech guy.
You're really into this self-help, huh?
So I decided that I have WhatsApp. I'm not a tech guy where I can develop an app within a week. So I started sharing the book summaries on WhatsApp. And then I took a small survey that how many people are reading the summaries. And I was highly disappointed that people are not ready to read the summaries as well.
The summaries of the books published by the people?
Yeah.
Their summary on the book, you mean?
I said, because you don't have enough time to read fat books, I'm here to make summaries for you. You can read a fat book in just 20 minutes. But to my disappointment, that was not happening. So I thought, okay, I'll read it for you. And I bought a nice microphone and started recording the summaries in my own voice. And WhatsApp has this facility of sending audio clips.
How lazy is this generation? They wouldn't read, so now you read a shortened version of the book for them. All they have to do is keep the ear open.
So this was an instant hit. And 20,000 people requested me on WhatsApp, and the whole day I was on WhatsApp.
Was it a dirty book?
No.
20,000 is a pretty big number. What was it?
And one day WhatsApp banned me for sending too many messages. They thought I'm spamming.
What are you saying?
Then I asked my community to mail to WhatsApp that please tell them that I'm not spamming.
You're spreading awareness on book and learning?
Yeah. And then ultimately to reach out to lakhs of people, I thought WhatsApp may not be an appropriate platform. So on World Book Day, which was 23rd April 2016, I launched my own Android app.
Shakespeare's birthday and death anniversary?
Yes.
What are you saying?
Yes.
So we have something in common.
Good knowledge.
24th is Sachin's. Yeah. That's not interesting for you.
Are you an avid reader?
I used to read a lot, but now I just read my future. Yes. It comes in a small newspaper column. I look at it, I cry, and I give it back.
So you can download Booklet and listen.
I will download Booklet. I want my kids to get involved actually, because I think maybe this is something that, because it's very difficult to just force habits on a generation. I think we can't keep judging generations. The world changes. So maybe
in fact, most of the parents tell me that this is the only app we can proudly tell our kids to download and use it.
Thinking of books like that, they'll never read today. Like, say, Three Musketeers when I was a young man. I liked that book as a young boy, men with, swords, fighting, and honor, and valor, and all for one and one for all. But I can't have that thing with my son because he just don't read.
True.
So maybe if, you did a summarized version of Three Musketeers and, created that whole magical thing of, these three heroes, four actually, with their swords, and then we could have a discussion about it. That's one thing I miss. Because my father and I actually read the same things. You're influenced by your parents. And so we were both reading generation.
Exactly.
The world has changed so much in the last 15 years. My first 20 years, nothing happened here. Doordarshan, color bars, nothing. Saptahiki was the highlight of the week. We waited for that. Color bars was good. Color bars was like drama. I was like, what color today? Look at the TV, color bars. Wow. Oh, the world. And then suddenly you guys in 10, 15 years, every minute you're changing things. But what I like is you sacked WhatsApp. Because I hate WhatsApp. I can't bear them. They're only rubbish messages, non-stop groups that you don't ever meet. And I'm glad that you fired them and went ahead. WhatsApp, it's your loss for being arrogant and thinking he was spamming when all he was doing was trying to send education across India and promote it. Okay, we've got to take a quick break. We'll come back. We want to talk about books now. We've talked about the fact that you set it up. We'll talk about books itself because you seem to be married to books in a sense. When we come back, Amrut Deshmukh, a man who's going to make your children read. Maybe pornography, but hopefully not.
Hey guys, this is Malika Singhania, co-founder of the blog Stylogram, where we cover trends, fashion forecasts, celebrity style, tips and tricks, and lots more cool stuff. So tune in every Thursday to the Stylogram podcast, your weekly style telegram, giving you the latest fashion and beauty stories that are relevant to you. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Audio Boom, or any other local podcast app. See you soon.
All right, Amrut Deshmukh is back here. He's the founder of the Booklet app. Let me just spell it out. Booklet.
Yes.
Okay, let's be clear about it so that you can download it and use it and hopefully become one of his, I think followers is the wrong word, but one of his people.
Yeah. And I'm on a mission called Make India Read.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So it's not a commercial product. I have to keep it as a social one.
Yeah.
The app is absolutely free. I have no intention to charge for the summaries for lifetime. It's
Right.
my promise to give you one book summary every week.
But then how are you going to make it? What's your revenue model if you don't mind?
Why don't you ask this question to Google? Why don't you ask this question to Baba Ramdev?
But their reach is much larger, so the volume...
Exactly. So once you give something for free, your reach... goes to lakhs and crores. That's
Should I warn Patanjali and Google that this could upset the apple cart a little bit? Should I just tell them? So what you're saying is that as you get more broad-based, your revenue will come in.
Yeah, I firmly believe that if you have a huge community of lakhs and crores of followers, I think money will be a byproduct. I just don't bother about revenue model as of now till I reach 1 million people.
But how do you get to the figure of 20 minutes, Amrut? I want to not be technical for a second. Is there a mathematical point that you feel where the attention span is right, wrong? I don't know. I'm asking. Is that a right question to ask also?
Yeah. TED Talk has done already some research on it that your attention span is not more than 18 to 20 minutes, and hence most of the TED Talks are not more than 18 minutes. So I thought 20 minutes is perfect.
Okay, but you wouldn't think 10 minutes would also work?
Yeah, in fact, if it's a 20-minute audio, I divide it into 3 parts. So it's 5-7 minutes each, and I distribute.
So you see it in 3 breaks.
Yeah, 3 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
What are you saying?
Every Wednesday you get a new.
So you come back like a viewer, like a TV viewer.
A new book summary gets downloaded in the app every Wednesday, and the second part on Thursday and third part on Friday.
So you're keeping them hungry in a sense. So there's a module that a proper module that you're following.
Yeah.
So give me an example. What was the first book you put up?
The first book was I think APJ Abdul Kalam's Ignited Minds. Yeah, he's my favorite.
School kids, schools and colleges push that book a lot also.
I wish he was alive. He would have promoted Booklet like crazy because he was a crazy book lover and he wanted to make.
And this kind of idea would have appealed to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm wondering why no politician has approached you actually, because they could easily jump on your bandwagon and act like they're a great social enterprise of theirs to promote. Because again, this is pan-India. This is not, one sort of prejudice to it. It's for everybody, for all age groups, not just children.
Absolutely.
So, the reaches can be huge. I'm sure it will be huge.
Yes. In fact, 70% of the audience are girls.
How do you know this?
I get all the... Once I download the app, I get Google Analytics. Yeah.
So, are you trying to say that women or girls read more than men?
I think, the statistics say. I don't say.
Yeah, well, Bangalore, if you're listening, you may have to read more because obviously the behavior there has to improve. So let's just get that down.
So another interesting book I released for this in the second week of my launch was Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray. Amazing book. Every guy and girl should read, whether you're planning to marry or not.
Or whether you're planning to go to Mars or Venus, once it becomes accessible. Yeah.
Amazing, very interesting.
So you're vetting these books now. Do people now call you up and say, hey, push my book?
Yeah, I get couriers by budding authors every day at my house. I can imagine, yeah. And they say that an authors ki puri lagi padi hai in India. They are just not able to sell books.
Because the internet allows them to have a medium, but they're not able to get it across properly.
Internet has disrupted the book world.
Fair enough.
So
and the music world.
Music world. So they are asking me that summarize my book and publish it so I'll get some platform.
But do they offer you money?
As of now, I'm not asking it. If I like the book and they are of international standards, I summarize it for free.
But you land up reading everything that comes your way?
Yeah, I do read.
You read and reject?
Yeah.
You read a bit and reject, this is not happening.
Yeah, correct. And I have increased my reading speed. Normal reading speed of an average guy is 200 to 300 words a minute. I have increased to 1,200 words a minute.
Oh, come on.
So
really? Can we test you? We have the minute.
How come?
We have the time.
I read it in mind. So how do you come to know?
Okay. But how do you do this? Can you explain it?
Yeah, there are simple techniques. You actually skim. You just check out few YouTube videos. There is something called skimming, where you do chunking. You read 3 to 4 words in one go. Because your eyesight is quite larger than one word. Unfortunately, you pick up one word at a time, but you can pick up more than one word.
Okay, I'm going to attempt this. Of course, not in my mind, but as a social experiment, since you brought it up. Amrut Deshmukh, here it is. I'm reading your biodata that I have, and I'm going to go at 4 words at a time. I am on a social mission to cultivate the habit of reading. I don't think it's working for me, man. I just didn't happen.
Oh, so the first rule of thumb is don't read loudly. You have to read in mind.
But if I read in my mind and they've actually downloaded the podcast, there'll be nothing happening. Should we try it, listeners or non-listeners? Because there's nothing happening. 10 seconds of silence. Okay, let's get back to the books. So right now, how do you decide which books you want to do?
Okay.
Because you got your own, things that you like, for example.
Agreed. So because there is diverse audience, all types of people, I have sacrificed my own taste of reading. So I cater all types of genres. Primarily, I have divided all the genres into 4 categories. Self-help, which is my favorite. Then business and management. Then fiction. And biographies and autobiographies.
What about like home furniture made easy? There's some really boring books out there. Which your 4 words a minute won't happen, trust me. It's really hard.
So, because I was in stock market, I won't summarize a book on stock market. It's a niche area.
But as long as there's a market and people are willing to download it. Tell me, what about things like Mahabharata, Ramayana, what about epics?
Yeah, that's on cards. I will do
But how do you do that in 10 minutes?
Some short stories from that epic, we can pick up and release it. That's it.
And all this is done by one man, Amrut Deshmukh. Nobody helps you? Nobody helps you edit, cut, put together, paste?
I'm doing it by myself, but friends are helping me selflessly because for this cause, the technology part has been taken care of by my IT friends.
But the reading part I'm talking about, because you have to keep reading. I mean, that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's what I do the whole day. There is no difference between work and play for me.
And how do you decide it's going to fit in 20 minutes? I mean, what instrument do you use? How do you make that time happen?
It's not strictly 20 minutes. I may make sure that the major takeaways are not diluted from the book. See, in any book, I think there are only 4 to 5 points to be learned from that book.
Right.
The rest of the things are just to, fatten the book.
I've read books where there's not even 1 point to be learned. But still, we can be nice to the author.
And where author has given 10 examples, I'll cut down to 1 example. Illustrations are cut down.
But so many characters you may have to leave out in a fiction book, I'm thinking, which will have about maybe 40 proper characters. You probably won't be able to get into them.
Yeah. So for fiction, I don't summarize literally. I look for short stories which are of 2,000 to 3,000 words. Because summarizing fiction doesn't make sense to me. So they're as it is after taking the permission of the author.
Which have been the most popular books for a booklet at the moment?
The Secret by
that Australian girl.
Rhonda Byrne. Amazingly motivating.
But is it still popular? I know there was a time when everybody read The Secret and talked about it.
It's still popular.
Yeah. You really push these self-helps, I must say. Are you going to write one yourself one day?
Yeah. Once I believe that I have collected the required wisdom and knowledge, I would love to write my own book.
So The Secret is the most popular?
Yeah, the most popular.
And it's still being asked for?
After that, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Who Moved My Cheese, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari are the bestsellers.
Robin Sharma. What about Kama Sutra? How is it sold? Huge silence. Mr. Deshmukh doesn't read that book. Of course, it's a graphic novel also with lots of pictures. It's difficult to summarize it. Yeah, but I'm asking you seriously. What about, because the internet is filled with sex and smut. What about all that?
So I go by people's recommendation these days, and nobody has recommended me such kind of books till now. That's the only diplomatic answer I can give. Right?
Lady Chatterley's Lover, for example, somewhere in the middle?
No,
not done.
Yeah.
That's fiction. You're avoiding fiction.
Because I want one day Modi to take notice of this app. So let's not get into these things. I'm very sure. One tweet.
But Kama Sutra is desi product, bhai. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने बाहर से लाया. It's very much Indian. Very much Indian. Okay, fair enough. So you want political patronage to happen. I think I'm wondering why it hasn't. I'm sure it will at some point, because I can't believe they would not want to be...
People are taking notice. Very soon, I'm very sure it will go up to PMO's office and very soon they'll take notice of it.
And you'll become education minister without holding any seat in parliament or ever standing for elections. Alright, let's talk a little bit about your personal life before we wind up and go to the AMAs. So Amrut, tell us, what were you? You were a chartered accountant. You were just a young man without a mission for a long time. What was it like growing up? Tell us about your book relations.
Yeah. Since childhood, I never used to love reading, but my brother used to play a trick. On my birthdays, he used to ask my friends and their parents not to get any gifts for me, and if at all you get any gifts, get only books for him. And I used to get ferocious on him. What the hell? Because at that age, obviously, I was expecting toys. But today I realized the whole intention.
So it almost forced it on you.
Yeah, it was.
And you suddenly started getting a love for it.
Because if instead of toys, you're finding books around you, you are bound to read them.
But now the self-help book craze happened much later. So that time were you reading mostly fiction? It was like...
Yeah, it was fiction. It was, Chacha Chaudhary.
Those kind of books.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Akbar Birbal.
Which, listen, believe me, they have a very important part in your life.
Yeah.
Akbar Birbal, Chacha Chaudhary. I've read all of these and I think they're very enjoyable. We shouldn't put them down. Akbar Birbal has some very interesting stories and beautifully told.
With moral messages.
With moral messages as well. And then you move towards this more self-help sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, then this moment in Bahubali, the only person who didn't enjoy the film in India apparently, and you had this great brainwave. Okay, Amrut, great talking to you, but we need to spend some time on the AMAs, questions coming in about all kinds of things beyond books, and you must answer them.
Okay.
Because you have a very altered state of mind compared to some of the people we've had before. Stay where you are. Amrut, with the AMAs, with me.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Okay, May,
Yeah.
what do you say
Today.
today?
Are you just trying to find words to rhyme with my name?
Hurry up, Ray.
That's the worst poetry ever. Okay, so first question is, why do paperback or hardcover book readers scoff at Kindle readers?
Good question, Amrut. Why do they look down on Kindle readers? As in, I'm an intellectual, I read a whole book. There's definitely a prejudice and attitude. Haath mein book hai. I read the full book. And you guys have the Kindle abridged version, and you're like a pretend to be intellectual book reader. There is that. There is definitely that divide. Mm-hmm. Why?
I think we are into T20 Zamana. Do you watch test matches anymore?
I do.
Yeah, I
You're
don't.
talking the wrong guy.
So you are an exception. You are an exception.
I watched
Cyrus.
Australia, Pakistan right up till the time when David Warner got out and I had to leave for this studio. 55 today, our time of recording of 27 balls. Setting up a test match for the 5th day finish.
Don't ask him that question, man. It's a losing battle.
So I'm a test match player, but go ahead. I won't interrupt the answer.
Test match player.
Test match player.
See, the real startups find pain points, and the exact pain point here is you don't find enough time to read. So these are the Kindle and Booklet. These are the solutions to these. These are the painkillers for these
But
pains.
are the people who are acting like they have the intellectual rights on reading by reading paperback and hardcover books, are they behaving in a way complex, in a way
The thing is,
outdated?
I still do both. I have a Kindle Fire, so I do read off my Kindle. I haven't read off my
I
Kindle.
find
in a
it
while.
hard to believe.
But
I think you're a reader who uses Kindle when you can't get a book. I think that's the way a lot of people.
Wow, you read me so
Which is
well.
different.
No, because I have. If you look at my bookshelf next to my bed, it's just full of paperback books. I use my Kindle only when I travel.
Amrut, again, you're talking to old people, at least me. It's damn tough to break this habit. We don't understand how you can read on that little tab. That's the problem. You just can't.
I will take my Kindle if I have to travel because I don't want to cart too many books. But then sometimes I'll just have a book in my bag. It's just so much easier to have my book
But
in my
you only
bag.
carry a book in your bag. No clothes, nothing. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. maybe some eyeliner.
My God.
And some lip balm.
Okay, why don't you carry me one day? You know what excess baggage is like. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Next question.
Okay. Do you think, it's a brand new year. Do you think there'll be a spike in the Parsi population?
Very good question. Now, how can one answer that? Because this is all about preserving the race, so to speak. And, what can we say? My worry is that we live in cosmopolitan India, cosmopolitan world. It's a global village.
Exactly.
So those days of intermarrying, or rather intermarrying in the Gotra, or whatever you want to call it, that's becoming less and less. People are just being exposed to more and more options. So it's a bit of a
You
losing
yourself
battle.
are a mix, no?
I am a mix, but the problem with me is if I have to reproduce now, they'll have to use some chemical agents.
Have you ever dated a Parsi girl?
I have gone out with a Parsi girl. I haven't had a long relationship. Because
You?
No way.
I've never gone out
have you
with...
dated a Parsi girl?
No,
Oh, damn.
I have not. I feel like I'm missing out.
Give us a call when I grow my hair.
Okay, next question is, do you think Indian festivals need a revamp?
Let's ask the organizer here because he's in the middle of all this kind of business. Festivals are, festivals as in religious festivals or
Yeah.
events?
No, I think like religious
Like Diwali,
festivals.
Holi, like
yeah,
that?
like that.
Oh, that's a slightly provocative question. Mr. Deshmukh, would you like to take it?
I think they've already revamped,
They
music.
modernized. Trance music in Ganpati is now common.
Yeah, I know. Trance
Diwali,
music.
you have to book the DJ. You won't get the
Exactly.
DJ. So it's all become...
The question should be: should we actually go back to the original?
Fair enough.
Festivals.
I feel it's called the Punjabification of India. Everything is like Punjabi wedding.
Punjabification.
No, it's the same thing. All our festivals are like the weddings now. The same music.
You know what? I'm
It's-
going for a Punjabi wedding and it's like 5 days long.
Yeah. And it's the same music.
I'm going to be dead by the first day only.
Honey Singh being played on Ganpati Visarjan.
And Honey Singh being the highlight on Ganpati Visarjan. He's the big name. You know, I mean, the Marathi folk songs all get pushed out now. That's the
Yeah,
truth.
they do.
Yeah, forget bhajans and all that. It's all religious point is gone. That went long ago. It's just the fun now. Don't get me started, young
Don't
lady.
get me started.
Bolo.
Okay, the next one is...
By the way, I think it's 125 years this Ganpati of Ganpati festival.
Is it?
Yep. It's going to be a big one.
Really?
2017.
I don't know that. Which wild animal would you rather have as your guest?
Which?
Yeah.
I'm a big wolf fan. I love the pack mentality. So wolf,
Do you?
I love the Wolverine, which I think is the most ferocious animal pound for pound in the world. He'll fight a bear. He'll die, but he'll fight. You know, no backward step.
You know
love
what?
That animal.
Talking about that, I was just going to say I love hugs. A bear. You can kill me with that hug.
Bears, although
like
see,
a good
I'm
bear.
always pro canine and their canine family, little unpredictable animals.
They are.
But
That's
I
like
go
which
wolves.
wild
I like
animal?
the pack. They mate for life. They love each
A
other.
bear.
They die for the children. They feed the kids first. Everything is great about
I
the
want a
wolf.
bear.
And they fight they live and die for the
bear.
pack.
Big bear.
The solo animals. Solo animals don't interest me.
Pandas.
Human beings are
Panda
selfish.
bears.
What are you talking about?
Bears.
Amrut has killed himself. He can't bear this question.
I think we're done now.
I think we are. May take Amrut now. Don't make him suffer. Ow. Okay, catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Beyond Pod, any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. If you have any questions, write to us online and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Our podcasts bring all the boys to the yard, and damn right, they're better than yours. But you don't need to stand outside in the yard. Just follow IVM Podcasts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We might be on Tinder too. Just go ahead and swipe right.